You have an exciting idea, but then something unexpected comes up. It can take weeks, sometimes even months, before you have time to get back to it. But then when you sit down to work on it again, you draw a blank. If this happens to you regularly, then keep listening. We're going to talk about a simple habit that you can use to quickly get that focus back and to continue making progress on your exciting idea over time. Welcome to the Productive Introvert Community Podcast, helping ambitious introverts who feel deep down that they can add more value to the world to really thrive in their work. I'm Mariela Franker, and I'll be sharing what I'm learning as an introverted entrepreneur, a natural productivity coach, and a mom while I build my business online and take care of my family and myself. In this podcast, you'll learn the mindset and the practical steps to naturally increase the impact of your work while making space for your unique strengths as an introvert. Hi, it's Mariela. So you have an exciting idea and you're eager to start working on it. For a few days, a couple of days, you feel like you're making some good progress, yes. But then something unexpected comes up. Another project is due, or something in your personal life needs your attention, family, friends, kids. In short, life happens. Your exciting idea, it slips to the background, and it can take weeks, sometimes even months, before you have time to get back to it. But then when you sit down to work on it again, you draw a blank. I'm like, okay, where did I leave this last time? What was this? What was I going to do next? And it takes so much time to piece things back together that now you're tired and frustrated that you made no real progress, and basically that you wasted this opportunity to work on your exciting idea. If this happens to you regularly, then keep listening. We're going to talk about a simple habit that you can use to quickly get that focus back and to continue making progress on your exciting idea over time. Let's dive right in with it, and we'll talk a bit more about why this is so important later on. So the thing that costs the most time in a project is your startup time. So remembering where you left off last time and getting clarity about your next step. A simple habit that can completely turn this around for you is something that I call leaving a thread. Here's what you do. So before you start working on your project, write down what you think is the one most important thing that will help you move your project forward. But that's not all, okay? After you're done working for the day, write down in just 1 or 2 sentences where the project is now, plus the one most important thing to do next. Imagine this as literally leaving yourself a thread throughout your project. And every time you come back to it, you know exactly what to do next. Doing something like this significantly cuts down your startup time, which is the thing that takes up the most time, right? And it can really help you to quickly get that focus back. And especially when you're working multiple projects, right? Because we always think about being productive or focused as having uninterrupted time and attention for one thing. But most of us do not have that in our lives, right? We almost always have multiple projects that we're working. We have multiple clients that we're serving. We have family, friends, and going on alongside business. So waiting for that time when you have uninterrupted space to work on a project, it usually keeps us stuck because that time never comes. So doing something like this can really help you to still make progress with incremental steps, and to push forward whatever project you want to be working on, even if it takes you weeks or months to circle back to it. You have it right there. You see it. Okay, this is the next step that I decided on last time. But you can totally change that, right? it doesn't mean that what you wrote down is actually the thing that you're going to do. Don't pin yourself on that. Things may have changed, when you circle back. Maybe you got more information in the meantime, or maybe you read an article or listened to a podcast that put things in a different perspective. We find inspiration in the things that other people put out there. So that gives you more context. It gives you other points of views, other angles, and that may change your next step for your project. But the point is, you don't have to go dig through all your notes and your memory, who can rely on that, of what was going on last time. Because what it does, and I think this is the most important thing, it helps us to connect what we're doing, the actions that we're taking in our daily life, back to our bigger picture. Because it's easy to get swept up in the daily motions, right? And when we get swept up, we can lose sight of the bigger picture. So whether that's in a project or if it's around your personal goals, we constantly feel like we're super busy doing a lot of things, but not making any real progress, which of course is very frustrating. And even more than that, sometimes we wear busy like it's a badge of honor. We sometimes even brag about it. Like, oh my God, I'm so busy. My life is so complicated. It's way more complicated than yours. That's for sure. I have so much on my plate. It's like this status symbol. Oh yeah, I'm busy. That means, I must be popular in a way. That's a bit simplistic, but you know where I'm getting at, right? And basically, I just want to call that out and let's just stop that. Let's stop that. Really, when you wear busy like a badge of honor, you're taking something away from yourself. You're giving your ability to choose over to that busyness. And you don't have to do that. Because busy does not equal productive. Busy is when we try to do all the things all at once. And productive is when we do those few things that have the most impact on our bigger picture. Imagine throwing like a handful of pebbles into a lake. And when you throw them out, they'll scatter and fall in the water and produce a bunch of ripples. But the ripples will be tiny for each pebble and they'll die out quickly. That's the effect it has when we try to do everything at once. We can create some ripples, we can create some effects and some impacts, get some result, but they usually die out quickly. And what we then usually do is you try to get more ripples by throwing more pebbles in the water, like by the handfuls, trying to do more of all of the things and spreading ourselves really thin. Whereas imagine walking along that beach, looking everywhere for that big rock, and then you finally find it, and you throw that big one into the lake. The splash is so much bigger, and the ripples go out much further. That's how I imagine the difference between being busy and being productive. And the way through busyness is constantly checking in. Where am I now? Where do I want to go from here? It's constantly zooming into the details and then zooming back out to that big picture. And what that big picture is very different for everyone. And for whatever the specific thing is that you're working on. Sometimes, it can be project specific, a goal that you have around the particular project. It can be around the lifestyle that you want to have. Constantly checking in, okay, the thing that I'm doing now, how does that connect with that? When I started my coaching business, I started this habit of leaving myself a thread. I never consistently did it in the past. I think I did the first part, thinking about what I wanted to do that day, but it usually would end up as 100 item to-do list that all would have an effect on my project or my goal. All those little pebbles, right? in the end, it didn't have a big impact. And it kept feeling like I was like throwing buckets of water into an ocean. Nothing was happening. But the problem wasn't so much that these items were not necessarily good choices. The problem was that they never really connected to a bigger picture. Does that make sense? And that's because I never took the time to think about it. I kept running behind these to-dos. I kept running behind the mantra, oh, I just need to work harder and then I'll get the results that I want. And when I started doing this habit of leaving myself a thread, it helped me not only to get things done more effectively, more efficiently, but it also helped me to connect to like the things that really bring joy and the way that I can help people the best, right? So coming from academia, I loved a lot of things around doing research, but I missed having a direct connection to people. It takes anywhere between 10 to 20 years before a scientific discovery can be translated to people's daily lives, right? And some, they never do. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just the nature of research. And some people, also introverts, they thrive in it, right? I personally thrive when I have a direct connection to helping other people. And it needs to be visual for me. I need to see it there. So when I started my coaching business, doing this and started leaving myself a thread on my daily activities, and I turned that into a habit, it's helped me to figure out how to connect to that wish that I had of helping other people while at the same time building my own business. Because I didn't really know what shape that would take when I started. And you don't need to. That's the beauty of doing these types of natural productivity techniques. It's not so much about output. It's about reflection and figuring it out along the way. Productivity and focus, they aren't really about making like long hours and relentlessly working on this one thing. It's much more about keeping that big picture front of mind and constantly measuring, are my actions meeting that big picture? How are they impacting that big picture? Is this the most important thing for me to do in order to impact my big picture? And these questions are even more important to ask yourself when you are working multiple projects at the same time, when you are living a busy life, when you do have all these different areas of your life, work, family, friends, all these different areas of your life that ask your attention. Because your time and your attention is valuable. All that time that you spend figuring out where did I leave that project last time could be time you could be spending with your kids or sleeping, relaxing, reading a book. Every single day, we make choices about how we spend our time and how we spend our attention. Leaving a thread is one habit that can help you bring that focus back to the things that you really find important in your life. So give yourself permission to take that badge of honor, that busy badge, take it off, and to just do the few things that have the most impact on your bigger picture. Whatever that may be in this season of your life, in your life right now. Thank you for hanging out with me, and let's talk again next week. Thank you for listening to the Productive Introvert Community Podcast. If you're an introverted entrepreneur and you're ready to thrive in your own way, then connect with me on thefrankermessage.com/contact.